Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in full. Nigeria's First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu says one person dies of tuberculosis every 7 minutes despite it being a preventable and curable disease. Tinubu stated this at a community outreach in Soka, Abuja to commemorate the 2005 World TB Day. World Tuberculosis Day is commemorated on March 24th annually to raise tuberculosis awareness and mobilize efforts, including political commitment to resource and healthcare financing for tuberculosis towards elimination. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has formally received a petition from constituents of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uganga's calling for a commencement of a recall process. The secretary to the commission, Rose Olario Anthony, received the petition, which was submitted at INEC's headquarters in Abuja. Natasha, who represents Kogi Central in the Senate, is currently on suspension for allegedly flouting the Senate rules. According to the petitioners, over 250,000 constituents signed the petition out of about 480,000 registered voters in the senatorial district. The petition is titled Constituents' Petition for a Recall of Senator Natasha Akpoti on Grounds of Loss of Confidence. The federal government is set to upgrade and modernize livestock facilities across Nigeria. Minister of Livestock Development Idi Maha disclosed this during a one-day inspection tour in Benue State. The visit aims to boost agricultural growth and enhance livestock production. Felicity Indere reports.
As part of efforts to improve the livestock sector, the minister visited projects in Boko and Gwe East. These include the Swine and Crop Improvement Project and the Livestock Investigation and Breeding Center. The tour focused on assessing facilities, enhancing functionality, and boosting food security. Meha stressed the need for collaboration with the Benue Bureau of Livestock Development. He emphasized the need for research and technology for fast-growing, high-yield livestock, saying the initiative aligns with the government's plan for economic growth and self-sufficiency while directing the clearance of 500 hectares within 2 weeks for pasture, which will help revive the 2,400-hectare livestock breeding center in Rav, Gwe East.
And then what is the business model, best business model to run them? Whether they belong to state, whether they are PPP, or whether they belong to federal government, it doesn't matter. We want to see what is happening, assess the potentials, look at the capacity, and then see how we can go forward. And this is the way to go. There are enough opportunities for us in this country. We have no reason to import meat. We have no reason to import dairy products into this country. And what is happening here today is an icebreaker.
Director General Benue Bureau of Livestock Development and Transboundary Animal Diseases Control, Dr. Aundaka Asambi, described the visit as a game changer. He says it marks a step towards transforming livestock production as well as improving animal breeds and boosting the economy.
We are ready to set aside the rhetorics and take pragmatic steps towards reviving the livestock industry in Benue and then bringing respite to our people who have over the time been sent to IDP camps. These are part of the steps that we hope to bring peace to the people of Benue.
The team also visited Makudi North Bank International Cattle Market to assess hygiene and business operations. In Makudi, Felicity Indere, Global TV News.
It is a significant day for several communities in Imo State as Governor Hope Uzodimma officially presented the staff of office to the newly elected traditional rulers. The ceremony held at the Sam Mbekwe Esco Chambers, Government House, Owerri, the state capital. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, tells us more. We apologize, that report will be brought in our subsequent bulletin. There is a fresh panic in Rivers State over an alleged move by the newly appointed sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Etek Ekwe Bass, retired, to appoint administrators to head the 23 local government areas. It was gathered that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had, upon appointment of Ibas, allegedly tasked him to set up a leadership system at the local government area of the state, and that the administrator, who had promised peace in the state, was on the verge of appointing local government administrators. It was learned that the local government area appointment has been skewed to favor loyalists of a big political actor in the state, but that those on the other side of political divide are planning a showdown once the appointment is made. The suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has distanced himself from militant groups threatening the federal government over the political crisis in the state. Fubara, in a statement signed by his chief press secretary, Nelson Chukwudi, regretted that people are trying hard to link him to militant groups. He noted that communities where the reports of explosions were recorded, or will I say reported, have dismissed the claims of attacks on oil facilities, stating that the whole claims were targeted at his person. Ahead of the 2027 general election, the recently formed board-based coalition of opposition leaders says it is on the verge of reaching a final consensus on its structure and modus operandi. Its main hurdle have been finding an alternative political party. The coalition noted that while some individuals are raising the issue of zoning, the matter has been formally discussed at its meetings. He added that at the stage of negotiations, the main focus is around getting leaders to agree to work together ahead of the upcoming elections. The federal government says it will learn power generation and transmission from Egypt, which it described as a role model in the sector. The government also has reaffirmed its commitment to rural development through an improved electricity access. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, disclosed this during a recent meeting in Abuja with the Egyptian ambassador to Nigeria, Mohammed Fuad. 12 inmates have escaped in a jailbreak in the early hours of Monday in Kogi State. Kogi State government confirmed this in a statement issued by the Commissioner of Information and Commissioner Kingsley Femi Fanwo. He commended the swift response of security agencies to jailbreak at the Federal Correctional Center in Katun Cafe, where 12 inmates escaped. Fanwo described the incident as unfortunate and assured citizens that the state government is taking decisive steps to prevent a reoccurrence. 3 of the 12 inmates who escaped during a jailbreak of Katun Kafa Correctional Center in Kogi State have been rearrested. The Acting Comptroller General, Nigeria Correctional Center, Sly Wokcha, disclosed this during a press briefing at the Katun Cafe Correctional Center. He regretted that one of the officers of the Correctional Service was killed by the escaped prison inmates. Wokcha vowed that the remaining escapees will be apprehended. He called on the general public to provide security agencies with all the needed information that will lead to the arrest of all the prison inmates who escaped from custody. The leader of Center for Democracy and Development, Ibrahim Yakubu, has called on President Bola Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in Zamfara State for a minimum period of 6 months, alleging that the Zamfara State Governor, Dauda Lawal, is involved in anti-democratic actions against members of the State House of Assembly. The center condemned the governor's alleged undemocratic actions at a press briefing in Abuja. Over now to the Niger Delta Progressive Youth Leadership Foundation has called for the peaceful resolution to the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State, while raising concerns about the legality of the state of emergency declared by President Bola Tinubu. They stated this while briefing journalists in Abuja. Our political correspondent, Edike Michael, has the report.
The group expressed support for mediation efforts to resolve the crisis, emphasizing the need for dialogue between Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the FCT Minister, and the House of Assembly. The group also raised concerns about the suspension of elected officials, calling for adherence to the Nigerian Constitution in any declaration of emergency.
According to the 1999 Constitution, a state of emergency can be declared under the following conditions: if Nigeria is at war, if the country faces an imminent threat of invasion or involvement in war, if there is a breakdown of public order and safety in any part of the country, if there is a clear and present danger of source breakdown, if a disaster or natural calamity has occurred or is imminent, if any situation arising that poses a significant threat to Nigeria's existence, if a state governor requests a state of emergency or fail to act within the responsible time, allowing the president to make such decision.
The forum also criticized political misadvising from some officials and the failure of the National Assembly to intervene, but stressed that a state of emergency could be misused for political manipulation with potentially detrimental consequences for democracy.
The power to declare a state of emergency in any part of Nigeria or even across the entire country must be exercised in accordance with the provision of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and must not be exercised in a flagrant violation of the same Constitution.
The group, like other concerned Nigerians, called on President Tinubu to monitor the actions of political appointees, ensuring they align with his administration's goals, particularly in the lead-up to the 2027 re-election, while reaffirming their commitments to defending Nigeria's constitutional democracy and supporting the Southern Niger presidency until 2031. Edika Michael for Global TV News.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, has described that there will be no hiding place for illegal miners in the country's effort to straighten operations of the mining marshals and ensure nationwide coverage are in the offing. Addressing a press briefing conference to mark the one-year anniversary of CORE, the minister emphasized that the establishment of the mining marshals last year has significantly disrupted unauthorized mining activities and restored investor confidence in the sector. Hosanna Okoreafo has the details.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, explained that activation of the CORE is to enforce provisions of the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act has struck fear into illegal operators, largely curbing their operations and serving as a deterrent. Assessing the impact of the mining marshals over the past 1 year, the minister stated that 2,220 CORE at inception, which has now been scaled up to 2,670 operatives, have raised awareness of the enforcement capacity of the federal government to combat illegal mining, establishing considerable deterrence among illegal miners, and contributed to substantial increase in revenue generated from the sector.
Specifically, on March 21st last year, the solid minerals sector witnessed the implementation of a critical element of our 7-point agenda for domestic consolidation and international competitiveness, and that's the activation of the mining marshals. The core of 2,220 officers that formed the pioneer mining marshals have increased over time by 450. They are now 2,670 as of today.
While the marshals' operations have been somewhat hampered by logistical constraints, Alake reassured that with the increased budgetary allocation for the ministry in the 2025 fiscal year, such limitations will be addressed.
Corporate collaborators encourage deeper excavation and scale up this illegality and criminality. So the above definition of the enemy necessitated a training schedule that empower the mining marshals with the strategic and tactical skills to combat and overwhelm its targets.
It will be recalled that the Federal Executive Council, FEC, recently approved 2.5 billion naira for the deployment of satellite technology to enhance the security architecture of the mining sector, which will consequently aid the operations of the mining marshals. Hosanna Okorafor reporting for Global Television.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When News Cycle returns, marketers fear price hike as federal government suspends sale to Dangote. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Cycle on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, following the Dangote Petroleum Refinery suspension of the sale of petroleum products in Naira, some filling stations have started stockpiling premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol. The retailers are storing the product to ensure they have enough to sell at a higher rate, having projected that the price of petrol will go up soon as a result of the failure of the federal government to continue the sale of crude oil to Dangote Refinery in local currency. However, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria warned these retailers to stop panic buying as they may run into heavy losses. Bitcoin and other leading currencies extended their gains, buoyed by positive investors' sentiment despite concerns over upcoming U.S. tariffs and key economic data released later this week. As of 7 a.m. West African time, Bitcoin rose 3.2% to $86,590, while Ethereum gained 2.3%, trading at $2,047. The global cryptocurrency market capitalization increased by 2.94% in the past 24 hours, reaching $2.84 trillion. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has urged filling stations owners to implement robust fire safety measures to prevent outbreaks and minimize loss of lives and property. Speaking in Enugu, the chairman of IPMAN's Enugu Depot Unit, Chinedu Anyoso, emphasized the importance of the precautions in the oil and gas sector, particularly in the regions under his jurisdiction. The Enugu Depot Unit oversees petroleum marketers in Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and parts of Abia, Imo, Kogi, and Cross River states. On the foreign news now, Istanbul embattled Ekrem İmamoğlu has been officially nominated as the presidential candidate by the opposition CHP party for 2028 elections. The Republican People's Party, the main opposition party and the second largest party in parliament, held the primary election on Sunday, which at the only candidate was İmamoğlu, the main political rival of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. İmamoğlu has been arrested, interrogated, jailed, and stripped of his mayorship in less than a week following a graft and terror probe that the opposition has slammed as a political coup. Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, Chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, has applauded the Ontario Nigerian community leaders for setting up the Nigerian Immigration Welcome Center, which is set to be launched soon. She commended them for this initiative aimed at providing support for fellow Nigerians in Canada who need assistance. Dabiri Erewa called on other Nigerian communities globally to emulate this support structure set up by community leaders in Ontario. Uche Ogung, President Network of Nigerians in Canada, NNC, remarked that the initiative will provide tailored service for prospective and current Nigerian immigrants in Canada to enable them adjust to their new environment quickly and contribute meaningfully to society. Russian and United States officials launched talks in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, on a 30-day partial ceasefire in Ukraine. The decisions in Riyadh came hours after a round of negotiations between Ukrainians and U.S. delegations. On the agenda is to halt a long-term rage attack against energy facilities and civilian infrastructure in both countries, as well as a pause on assaults in the Black Sea. Meanwhile, the fighting continues with both Ukraine and Russia accusing each other of launching overnight drone attacks. Israel's relentless bombardment of Gaza continues with at least 61 Palestinians killed in the attack across the Strip over the past 24 hours reporting period. The renewed assault came hours after Israeli forces bombed the Nasser hospital in Gaza, killing at least 2 people, including Hamas leader Israel Barham. Gaza's health military says at least 50,082 Palestinians are confirmed dead and 113,408 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza. Gaza's government media office updated its death toll to more than 61,700, saying thousands of Palestinians missing under the rubble are presumed dead. At least 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the Hamas-led October 7, 2023 attack and more than 200 taken captive. In sports now, Raul Jimenez scored twice as Mexico snatched a last-grip 2-1 victory over Panama to win the CONCACAF CAF Nations League for the first time. Former striker James, who had also bagged a brace in a semi-final win over Canada, slotted a stoppage time penalty to settle a pulsating final battle at Sophie Stadium. Mexico win was tagged with controversy through with the final halt by match officials in the closing minutes due to homophobic chanting from Mexican fans. The highly anticipated ICC Under-19 Men's World Cup African qualifiers set to commence in Lagos on Friday, with teams gearing up for an intense battle for the continent's sole ticket via the qualifiers to the World Cup. As penetrations reach a crucial stage, Namibia are the first team expected to touch down in Lagos on Tuesday to join host Nigeria. Namibia's early arrival will be followed by other participating teams, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and Sierra Leone, who are expected to all arrive on Wednesday. The event, scheduled to take place from March 28 to April 6, 2025, will be hosted at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Cricket Oval, and University of Lagos Cricket Oval in Akoka. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle. Now, kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good evening. Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices.